Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Caroline Goerner. Mrs. Caroline, how are you doing, ma?
I am doing so well. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you very much, Mrs. Caroline. Firstly, you are a professor. Can you please, ma, discuss more about yourself and how you're doing currently now, ma?
Absolutely. I am a professor at the Kelly School of Business at Indiana University in Indiana in the US. And I have been in this role for about 25 years. I mostly teach people two things. The first is how to negotiate, so a lot of negotiation pieces, and then the second is just people management, how to be a good boss, and how to essentially make it so that people like working for you. And I also am the chair of our online master's degree programs. And so that's my administrative part of my job in addition to teaching.
Wow, that's very lovely. Thank you so much, Mrs. Caroline. And as a professor, have you written any book or are you planning to write any book, ma?
I've written one. It is called The Confident Millennial. It's basically trying to get folks to feel that they do have what it takes to succeed in business, to be a manager, etc. One of the things I study a lot is this idea of feeling imposter syndrome, or feeling as if you don't belong somewhere or can't do something that you're really qualified for. So much of what I do revolves around that. Lately, what I've been publishing is not books, but courses on LinkedIn Learning. And so I've got 10 or 11 now, I've lost count, classes there, everything from overcoming imposter syndrome to how to make the transition from individual contributor to manager. So it's been a change to publish in that format, but I very much enjoy it. I feel like it reaches more people.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Caroline. And I would like to dive to the point of online learning, ma.
Yes.
Before we do know that every single thing we do are done physically, but due to the rise of technology, there's now development of even getting a degree online. I would
Mhm.
like to ask, ma, people to just know more about what online degree is and what do you think are also the key factors that also distinguish between a high quality online program from a medium one, Mrs. Caroline?
Thank you. I'm so grateful that you're giving your listeners a chance to think about this. So often people just look at the program and say, that name has the information I think I want, I'll sign up. And the online programs do vary really dramatically. The first thing that I always tell people to look for is the quality of the school. Theoretically, you should be getting online the same quality of education that you would get if you were physically at that school. And so you want to make sure that you're starting with a good school. So that's kind of the first piece. The accreditation of the school is probably the easiest way to look at that. Here in the US, if you go to the US Department of Education, they keep a database of all accreditations for higher learning institutions. So you can check there. Other countries, you'll typically find it in some sort of a compliance website, or if there is a Department of Education, something there. But most governments do maintain a record of which programs are certified and which programs are accredited. The reason that's important is that for accreditation, all of the schools have to go through a rigorous process of having not just their content looked at, but at the way that it's being taught. So, for example, I'm in a business school. So, the Association of Colleges and Universities of Business is the accrediting body for us. And we, every 5 years, they look at what are our learning objectives, how are we guaranteeing that our students meet those, are all of our faculty qualified, are our courses taught by faculty as opposed to folks who are not necessarily affiliated with the university, are our faculty keeping up? So every year I have to submit a document that says, here's how I'm staying current in the field that I teach. So it's a process by which they make sure that the university is doing everything that it can to protect the quality of the education they're presenting. So accreditation is where I would start. Am I looking at a school that has that? From there, really the programs vary pretty widely. And my advice to someone always is decide what you want, then decide on the program. And I know that sounds a little backwards, but they vary a lot. Some are just you will watch videos and take classes and submit assignments, but you'll never really interact with anybody live. So if you're somebody who really likes being independent and likes working alone, that kind of what we call asynchronous could work really well. On the other hand, those are often the programs that people drop out of the most because they don't have social support and there's not a lot of accountability to folks outside. So it's really hard. You've got to be so self-motivated to do that. On the other hand, you've got programs where you have to be online with your professor at a certain day and time every week. And that doesn't work for everybody. Some folks need more flexibility than that. So, how do you want your program to evolve? Do you want to have live sessions where you have to be somewhere, or do you need more flexibility than that? Do you want interaction with your faculty member? And if so, how often? Do you just want them available via email, or do you actually want to have regular conversations with them? That's going to make a difference. How fast do you want to move? If you just want to take one class per semester or quarter, then you want to make sure that the program will allow that because some will put parameters around how fast you have to progress and finish the degree. So, first of all, stepping back and saying, how much flexibility do I need? How much time am I able to schedule to be at a certain place at a certain time? And what am I looking for in terms of that faculty and engagement experience? Do I want to engage with other students? Because you'll need the live class sessions and that model in order for that to really happen. And then how long do I want this to take? Do I want to just work really hard and finish a degree in a year or two? Or do I want to take 3 or 4 years and spread it out a bit? So those are the things that I would really ask someone to look at. And then once they do, they can step back and say, oh, okay, which of the programs that do it the way I want it best meet my needs? Does that make sense?
It's definitely. And
So, go ahead.
And that also dive me to the point of resources. There could be definitely some things that this online program should provide for the students when
Yep.
they are enrolling for things like this. I would like to ask, what type of resources do you think this online program should have, like library or stuff like that?
Great question. Usually, if it's working right, you should have a login and an identification set up with the university so that online you would have access to everything that the university offers online. That includes their library. That includes, any kind of databases that they have available. That includes the software that they make available to students. So having that login really gives you access to what the university has to offer. So again, if you want, if you really want a lot of access to, let's say you're into data analytics and you want a lot of access to databases, you want to look for a school where the libraries have that. And that's a fairly straightforward question to ask that folks would be able to tell you. So that online access is absolutely a part of it. Most schools will do a combination of providing you with videos to watch and things to read in between the live classes if they have them. So you want to make sure that they're providing video that is high quality, that they're telling you exactly what to do to watch it correctly, all of those things. And so you definitely want, it's really hard to watch a bad video for a long time. And so you want to make sure that they've invested resources into that. In terms of what they provide the students, it's going to vary a lot from institution to institution. If you're in a mostly asynchronous, I'm just doing this on my own kind of format, most of those programs don't offer a lot in terms of career advice or mentoring opportunities or those kinds of things. They're pretty much just get the facts, just learn the material, and that's all that they provide. At the other end of the spectrum are programs that say you are interacting with faculty and students on a regular basis. And so you have more opportunities to look for faculty as mentors or to provide career advice. But many schools also just have career services centers. And if you can find one with that, you'll get significantly more help if you wanted to find a new job or switch careers. So if you want a program that allows you to, really think about where you want to go next, you're really changing your life at the time you're in the program, then looking for one that has those resources would be really helpful. On the other hand, if you know you love your current job and you want to stay in it, then you just need the knowledge. And at that point, finding a program that is just kind of asynchronous, not really bringing people together, can be a really good way to do that. So it really, again, depends on what you want. To be perfectly candid, you're going to see a difference in the price points. Those that do offer more of those services are going to cost more. And so that's another trade-off you want to consider as well. In this kind of, am I getting career advice, or am I kind of getting exposed to various kinds of materials, et cetera? You get what you pay for. And unfortunately, that's pretty much the reality. You've got to make some choices about what you're willing to pay and what you're willing to get.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Caroline. And that will also dive me to the point of skills or requirements a student should have. When someone wants to enroll for an online program, there could be some things, some qualities a student should have before enrolling, or they might be, it might just be you don't have to have any skills or stuff like that. If there is any skill or requirement student need to have, are there anyone or any skills that student need to have before enrolling or trying to say they want to enroll for an online program, Mrs. Caroline?
That is such a fabulous question. I've been teaching online master's and MBA courses for, oh golly, 9 or 10 years now. And the students that I see who succeed do have some things in common. And so I'm really glad you're asking that. The first is that they are proactive. They're willing to ask for things rather than just sit back and wait for things to be given to them. They are willing to reach out. They are not hesitant to send an email to an instructor, for example, that says, I'd like more information on this, or even, I'd like to meet with you. Because it does require you as the student to physically reach out more because you're not there. I'm not seeing you and we're not having small talk in a classroom. So the student really does need to be someone who's comfortable or gets comfortable reaching out and asking for things. If you're someone who's not comfortable asking, it's probably not a good environment for you. It's also the case that you need to be pretty disciplined, pretty self-driven, but it's not so much that you have to be really good at time management or anything like that. It's that you've got to be someone who's good at establishing a routine and following through with it. So if you say, I find that people who physically exercise regularly know exactly what it is that we're talking about. Many of my students who are active say that they plan their study just like they plan their run or their workout. And if you're somebody who's very comfortable with planning and doing something every day, then this will work great. On the other hand, if you're more like me and have trouble getting motivated for things like that, then you definitely would want to look for a program that has the live sessions, more deadlines, those kinds of things, because that'll keep you honest and kind of keep you moving down that path. It helps to have family support and employer support. And so people who are willing to just say, I'm investing in my career, I'm investing in myself professionally, and are willing to ask for help and ask for support. that's hard. Asking for help is so hard. And so people who are not afraid of saying, I need I need a little more information. I need a little, some time, some help here. That becomes an important piece as well. It works equally well for introverts or extroverts. There's not really any personality variables, except for perhaps conscientiousness or the notion that you're good at getting things done and checking things off a list, etc. But it does really help to be organized. And that doesn't mean there's any one way to be organized. Some people still use, paper and note cards, and that's fine. But it's knowing how you stay organized, knowing how you can find things. Because what's really challenging about online education is that you have to sort of fit it in whenever you have a few minutes. And so knowing what it is you need to read and having that available on your phone when you have 10 minutes to just be able to take that time to read an article that's assigned. Just that organization that says, I've looked ahead, I know how to have things so they're accessible to me, and I feel really good about this notion of I have control over. I may not have control over my schedule or my calendar, but whenever I have a free moment, I know that I know what to do. I can dive back in and everything will be organized for me. Uh, Most of the time, the people who want advanced degrees and who want to be doing online work already have ambition and they already have a sense of commitment to learning and to wanting to get better. So I kind of take those things for granted. Perhaps I shouldn't, because I think it's important to, those are critical components as well. But in my experience, people who will reach out to be a part of an online experience are probably already doing that because they have those characteristics.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Caroline. And that also dive me to the point of probably financial aid or scholarship, Mrs. Caroline. You and I will
Mhm.
definitely agree that online programs are for people who are ultimately doing well. There was a time, I remember there was a time I was like, I want to even go online and even study online. And when I just went to go to the research, when I start to see the price point of online programs, I just kept quiet and I just went back to my school and continued to study because it was so much expensive. I was like, wow. So I
Yeah.
would like to go to the point of that scholarship, Mrs. Caroline. If there is for online programs, are scholarship widely available for online programs? And how do you think students can access this scholarship, Mrs. Caroline?
That's such a good question. It seems like since you're not in a physical place, that there would be less costs with an online program. But it turns out they're equal. And in fact, in terms of setting something up, the online program can even be more expensive. So for every online class I teach, I have to produce about 20 to 30 hours of video content for the students in addition to the live sessions that we do. So that means that I need to be in front of a camera or in a recording studio, not just preparing the work, but having it filmed and edited and all of those things. And that's expensive. So, and you're still paying the faculty to teach, regardless of where they are. So that's the reason for the price tag. It can be slightly cheaper for some degrees. So, here in Indiana, there's actually a fairly large difference. Our in residence MBA is about $102,000 right now, and our online MBA is significantly less than that. Our online MS degrees are 25,000. So it can vary even within the institution depending on what degree you want. Do remember that as long as the program is accredited, you can apply for scholarships, loans, all of those things exactly the same way that you can if you're attending live. And so I think people forget that those resources are available, and they absolutely are. Do also check with the institution because more of them now are one of the biggest areas of growth is in people offering scholarships and other forms of aid to online students. For a long time, that really wasn't something schools did, and that has changed pretty dramatically, really since COVID, as online learning became more natural. So yes, it's not cheap. The other thing, though, about online learning is you typically can spread the payments out over a longer period of time. So if you come to a school to do an MS degree, you've got to finish it in 1 year and you've got to pay for that whole degree in 1 year. On the other hand, if you do one online, you can take 3.5 years to do that. And so you're spreading what you're paying out over a longer period of time. And that makes it easier for a lot of people. But it is definitely expensive. That's one of the things that people really ought to look at as well is, do you want a degree, or do you want a professional certification, or do you just want a digital badge that says that you know things? And if it's the case that you could get by, or even get all your goals achieved with something that's not a degree, then there are lots of options that start to become much more cost effective. And so look at what you want to be, and kind of what your career goals are, and decide if it's really worth the investment in the degree, or if maybe professional certificates or other kinds of technical certifications might be all you need.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Caroline. And I'm also glad that the listeners now know online program is not cheap. It's very, very expensive. Thank you so much, Mrs. Caroline. And I would also like to ask lastly, Mrs. Caroline, if there is any one piece of advice you would like to give to someone who could now feel like they want to go for an online program, what advice, like very important advice, you need to give to them, Mrs. Caroline?
It's funny. It's the same advice that I think I would give anyone who's trying and who's doing something that'll take a lot of their energy and time and money, which is know why. Be really clear on the reasons that you're doing this, and what you want the end goal to be. Very often, my students will be in class with me on camera, and I tell them this is fine, and they will have a kid come either sit on their lap or even just come in and kiss them goodnight while they're in class. And I know that for those students, part of the reason they're doing this is for their kids. Other people are really, they want to make the world better, and that's their why. That's why they're stepping in to do this. I have a student who works in theater and runs a theater, but she knows that it needs to be, she needs to be better at the finances and the marketing and those sides of it. So her why is to make her theater better. If you don't really have a good motivating underlying reason to step in and give this your time and energy, it's going to be hard to have the tenacity to pull through. On the other hand, if you've really got a sense of what you want to accomplish, what it means to you, then all of those things really can keep you moving forward when you get tired and you get busy and there are deadlines and all of those things. It's just that sense of having a purpose, which I think is so critical to everything we do.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Caroline. Every single thing someone have to do in life, someone have to know the main reason why someone wants to do it, because it requires a lot of time, energy, and also resources. Thank you so much, Mrs. Caroline. And lastly, Mrs. Caroline, I would like to, I normally ask the question, Mrs. Caroline, from the ancestors, from the forefathers, there are a lot of things that do exist during our ancestral time that is missing in our time today, Mrs. Caroline. If there
Yes.
is anyone or anything you would like to bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing will be, Mrs. Caroline?
Well, it's a fairly recent ancestor, but one that I believe is one of the wisest people to be on earth, and that's Maya Angelou. And she said two things that I think are very important to this whole journey of just trying to get better in general. And the first is, do the best you can until you know better, and then when you know better, do better. And the reason I think that's so important is so many people, particularly adults, will really beat themselves up mentally because they feel like there's something they should have known, or they shouldn't need extra help, or they should, I should have known how to do that. And the reality is, no, we're always learning, and we're always just doing the best we can with what we know. And so that to me is so important to the journey. Do the best you can with what you know at any given time, and then you'll learn more and you'll do better. But understand that process, which I think is everything. And then the other thing that she is known for saying is be a rainbow in somebody else's cloud. And that idea of everybody has issues and things going on and things that make them tired and cranky. And if you can bring some kindness, some rainbow, even smiling at people, it makes all the difference in the world, both to them and to you. When you're not caught in their cloud, but you're still shining colors, it really does make it better as well. So those are the two things that I really have in my mind as what I try to live by, because I really do think Maya Angelou was something very, very special.
Well said, Mrs. Caroline. I want to sincerely thank you for this opportunity, for this time, for every single discussion we've made today when it comes to online programs and the advice you've given to the listeners today. I want to sincerely thank you, Mrs. Caroline. Thank you so much, ma.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be a part of your guests. I love what you do, and the guests that you've had on have been really insightful. So I'm honored to be a part of this. Thank you.
All right, ma. Have a wonderful day, ma. Bye-bye.
Bye.